The call came in as an animal complaint. Routine. Maybe a stray in someone's yard. Maybe a dog fight 2 streets over. Officer Ryan Moss had handled 100 of these quick, forgettable paperwork by dinner. But when his cruiser rolled onto the gravel shoulder of County Road 48, what he saw wasn't routine. It was a German Shepherd, mid-lunge against a chain bolted to a rusted post, screaming, not barking, screaming. The dog's right front leg was clamped in a steel jaw trap, the kind hunters stopped using decades ago. Every time the animal pulled, the teeth bit deeper. Blood pooled in the dirt beneath him, dark and spreading. His eyes were wild, locked on nothing and everything at once. Pure panic, pure pain. The chain rattled like thunder every time he moved. He was trying to run from something that was already inside him. Ryan cut the engine. For a moment he just sat there, hands still on the wheel, watching the shepherd thrash. The dog's coat was matted, ribs visible through the fur, no collar, no tags. Probably dumped. People did that out here, drove their problems to the edge of town and left them. He reached for the radio. Dispatch, this is 4 my 22. I'm gonna need animal control out at County 48, west of the Miller property. Got an injured dog, looks like a leg trap. Might need a trank. The radio crackled. Copy 4 my 2. DAT 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Ryan looked back at the dog. The shepherd had stopped pulling now, sides heaving, tongue lolling. His eyes had changed, less wild, more distant. That was worse. That was the look of something giving up. Ryan's hand went to the door handle, then stopped. He'd been bitten before. Everyone had. You approach a dog in pain, you're asking for it. Protocol was to wait. Let the trained guys handle it. He wasn't trained for this, but he knew that look. He'd seen it once before, in the eyes of his old K9 partner, Gunnar, the night they pulled him from under a collapsed fence after a chase went wrong. Gunnar had looked at him the same way this dog was looking now, not asking for help, just asking not to be alone. Ryan opened the door. The first step was the hardest. Ryan moved slow, boots crunching gravel, hands visible and open at his sides. The shepherd's head snapped toward him. A low growl rolled out from somewhere deep in the dog's chest. Not aggression, just warning. Don't, I'll hurt you if I have to. Easy, Ryan said. His voice came out softer than he expected. Easy, boy. Nobody's gonna hurt you. The dog didn't believe him. Why would he? Everything in this animal's recent history had been pain and abandonment. The growl deepened. The shepherd tried to lunge again, instinct overriding logic, and the trap bit down harder. He yelped, a sound so sharp and broken it made Ryan's jaw clench. He stopped moving, 10 feet away, close enough to see the whites of the dog's eyes, the foam at the corners of his mouth, the way his injured leg trembled even when he wasn't pulling. Close enough to smell the blood. Ryan crouched down, making himself smaller, non-threatening. He'd done this with Gunnar once, years ago when a suspect's Rottweiler had cornered him in a backyard. Gunnar had put himself between Ryan and the dog, taken a bite to the shoulder, never made a sound, just held the line until backup arrived. They'd retired him 6 months later. He lived another 2 years in Ryan's house, sleeping by the back door, waiting for a call that never came. Ryan blinked the memory away. I know, he said to the shepherd. I know it hurts. But you gotta let me help you. The dog's ears flicked forward, just for a second. Listening, Ryan reached for his belt, unclipped his baton. The shepherd's lips pulled back, showing teeth. Not for you, Ryan muttered. For the trap. He wasn't sure the dog understood, wasn't sure it mattered. But talking helped. It always had. He moved closer. 5 feet now. The shepherd watched him, muscles coiled, ready to fight or flee, except he couldn't do either. He was chained, trapped, helpless. And that, Ryan realized, was the worst part, not the pain, the helplessness. Yeah, Ryan said quietly. I get it. He knelt in the dirt beside the dog. The shepherd's breathing was ragged, fast. Ryan could see the trap now, really see it. Old steel, red with rust and fresh blood, jaws clamped just above the paw. The mechanism was stuck, corroded. He slid the baton into the gap between the jaws and pulled. Nothing. He pulled harder. The metal groaned but didn't give. The shepherd whined, a high, thin sound that cut through everything else. Ryan looked up and met the dog's eyes. They weren't wild anymore. They were pleading. Don't leave me here. I'm not going anywhere, Ryan said. He pulled again. The baton slipped. His knuckles scraped metal. He swore under his breath, repositioned, braced his weight, and pulled. The trap shifted. Just an inch. But it shifted. The shepherd went still, watching, waiting. Ryan's hands were shaking now. Sweat dripped into his eyes. He wedged the baton deeper, found a better angle, and threw everything he had into it. The spring snapped. The jaws flew open. The dog screamed one last time, and then collapsed. The shepherd lay motionless in the dirt, sides barely moving, blood still seeping from the wound where the trap had been. His eyes were half closed, glazed. Ryan's hand hovered over the dog's chest, feeling for a heartbeat. It was there. Faint, fast, uneven. Still alive. Barely. Ryan didn't think. He stripped off his uniform jacket, wrapped it around the dog's injured leg as gently as he could, and lifted. The shepherd was heavier than he looked. Maybe 70 pounds. All muscle and bone and dead weight. He didn't resist. Didn't even flinch. That scared Ryan more than the growling had. He carried him to the cruiser, laid him across the back seat. The dog's head lolled to one side, tongue hanging out, breath coming in shallow gasps. Ryan grabbed the first aid kit from the trunk, pressed gauze against the wound, tried to slow the bleeding. His hands were shaking again. He wasn't a medic. He didn't know what he was doing. He just knew he couldn't stop. "Stay with me," he said. "Come on, stay with me." The dog's eyes opened, just a sliver. They found Ryan's face, held there, and something passed between them. Something Ryan couldn't name. Not gratitude, not trust. Something quieter, something like recognition, like the dog understood, on some level deeper than words, that this man kneeling beside him in a blood-soaked uniform wasn't going to walk away. Ryan's throat tightened. He thought about Gunnar again, the way he used to rest his head on Ryan's knee after a long shift, not asking for anything, just being there. The way he'd looked at Ryan the day the vet said it was time. Eyes still clear, still loyal, even at the end. He hadn't been able to save Gunnar. The cancer had been too far gone. But this dog still had a chance. Ryan closed the back door, slid into the driver's seat, and hit the gas. The nearest vet was 15 minutes away. He made it in 9. The clinic was small, understaffed, almost closed for the day. Ryan kicked through the door with the shepherd in his arms, jacket still wrapped around the leg, blood soaking through. A vet tech looked up from the desk, eyes going wide. "Trap injury," Ryan said. "He's losing blood. He needs help now." They moved fast, took the dog from his arms, disappeared through a set of swinging doors. Ryan stood there in the empty waiting room, hands still covered in blood, heart still hammering in his chest, and then for the first time since he'd opened his car door on County Road 48, he let himself breathe. They kept the dog for 3 days. Ryan called every morning before his shift started. Same question, same tight feeling in his chest, while he waited for the answer. The first day, the vet said critical but stable. The second day, improving. On the third morning, when Ryan called, the receptionist said something different. "He's awake, and he's asking for you." Ryan knew dogs didn't ask for anything, but he also knew what she meant. He drove to the clinic on his lunch break, still in uniform, still smelling like coffee in the vinyl seats of his cruiser. The waiting room was empty except for an old woman with a cat carrier. She smiled at him as he passed. He nodded back, distracted, already moving toward the back where they kept the recovering animals. The shepherd was in the last kennel on the left, lying on a thick blanket someone had donated. His right front leg was wrapped in clean white bandages, the kind that got changed twice a day. He looked smaller somehow, not weak, just less desperate. The panic had drained out of him, replaced by something Ryan recognized, but couldn't quite name. When Ryan approached, the dog's ears perked up, his head lifted, and then his tail started to wag. Just once, twice, like he wasn't sure he was allowed to. Ryan knelt down in front of the kennel gate. "Hey boy." The shepherd stood, slow and careful, testing the weight on his injured leg. He limped forward and pressed his nose through the bars. Ryan reached out, let the dog sniff his hand, dirt, coffee, gunpowder residue from the range yesterday, and then scratched behind his ears. The dog leaned into it, eyes closing, a low sound rumbling in his chest. Not a growl. Something softer, relief maybe. "He's been waiting for you," the vet said from behind him. Ryan glanced back. Dr. Patel stood in the doorway, arms crossed, a small smile on her face. She was young, maybe 30, and she looked tired. Everyone who worked with animals looked tired. "How's he doing?" Ryan asked. "Better than he should be." She stepped closer, crouched beside Ryan, looked at the dog with the kind of fondness people reserved for miracles. "The trap severed a tendon. We had to do surgery to repair it. He'll always have a limp, but he'll walk, he'll run, even if he wants to." She paused. Another hour out there, though, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. Ryan's hand stilled on the dog's head. He thought about that, about how close it had been, about the 20 minutes he'd waited for animal control that never came, about the moment he'd decided to open his car door instead of staying inside where it was safe. What happens now? He asked. Dr. Patel sighed. We'll contact the shelters, see if anyone can take him. But with an injury like this, she trailed off, and Ryan heard all the words she didn't say. Older dog, medical history, limp, hard to place, hard to adopt. Most people wanted puppies, wanted easy. Ryan looked at the shepherd. The dog was watching him now, eyes clear and brown and patient. He wasn't asking for anything, wasn't begging. He was just waiting to see what came next, the way dogs do, the way they've always done, trusting that the world will either take care of them or it won't. Ryan thought about his house. 3 bedrooms, one of them empty. A backyard with a fence he'd built himself 5 years ago and never used. A space by the back door where Gunnar used to sleep. A space that had been empty for so long Ryan had stopped seeing it. He thought about coming home to silence, about eating dinner alone, about all the reasons he'd told himself he didn't want another dog. It's too hard. You get attached. They don't live long enough. You have to say goodbye. But he'd already said goodbye once. And it hadn't killed him. It had just made him lonely. I'll take him, Ryan said. Dr. Patel blinked. You're sure? Ryan nodded. He was sure. Maybe the most sure he'd been about anything in years. Yeah, he said. I'm sure. 2 weeks later, Ryan and the shepherd, Dane he'd named him, after a buddy from the academy, walked together on County Road 48. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, and the air smelled like dust and cut grass. Dane walked beside him, steady despite the limp, head up, ears forward, taking in the world like he was seeing it for the first time. Every few steps, Dane would glance back at Ryan. Just checking, just making sure. I'm right here, Ryan said. When they reached the spot where the trap had been, Ryan had come back the next day and removed it, thrown it in a dumpster behind the station. Dane stopped. He sniffed the ground, slow and deliberate, like he was reading a story written in scent. Then he looked up at Ryan, and Ryan saw it again, that quiet understanding, that recognition. They'd both been trapped once, both been hurt, both been alone, and now they weren't. Ryan reached down, ran his hand along Dane's back, felt the warmth of him, the realness of him. Come on, buddy, he said. Let's go home. Dane's tail wagged, and together they walked into the evening light, 2 survivors who'd found each other at exactly the right moment, in exactly the right place, and decided that maybe, just maybe, they deserved a second chance.